All right, y'all. I'm back to do my random game picker a thon or whatever. I don't know what series to call this, but I have a lot of games in my Steam library. It's interesting because it says I have a 1092 on this thing, but when I go into actual Steam, it says I have like 1400. Now, maybe some of these aren't really games, and I think maybe that's the distinction. But I'm gonna pick a random game, or this thing's gonna do it for me. And again, I reserve the rights on a couple things. If it's a game I've already played and have a gameplay on, I'm skipping it. I also, if it's a game I just played, I just frankly don't want to play it, I'll skip it. Two, if it picks something in a series, if it picks the second game in a series, I'm gonna play the first game because I'm OCD like that. But here we go. Where are we picking? Home. Never played. Okay, good start. Never played it. Now, if I click this, is this going to launch Steam or is it going to open a browser? Opens a browser. All right. Home. So, all right. A unique horror adventure. Okay, I like horror. That's exciting. Oh, okay. So it's like a 2D horror game, I guess. Okay. Well, I'm gonna install it and let's give it a spin. All right. A unique horror adventure by Benjamin Rivers. All right, Benjamin. Let's see what you made here. See, your game will be saved automatically. However, we recommend you put aside an hour and a half and complete home in a single setting. Okay. Turn up the sound, turn off the lights. Okay, I don't like you're already bossing me around, Benjamin. I'm getting a little upset here. All right. All I remember is that is at that point was finding myself alone. Oh. Oh my head. Where was I? It was so dark. There was something by my feet, a flashlight. Okay. All right. All right. Let me pick up my controller and let's see if the controller works. Yep. Very Resident Evil. That house, where was I? So I'm pushing all the buttons on the controller and I mean, that works. All right. There's a body lying on the floor. Who was it? Kitty! I noticed that I limped as I moved down the stairs. How did I hurt my leg, I wondered. All I could really recall was coming home seeing Rachel. I was upset. She looked afraid. I shook my head and tried to clear it. I know I should head downstairs, try to find a way out. The shelf was full of books on local history and hunting. It seemed like the owner of the house really knew the area. Well, I like the presentation so far. An old dining table covered in dirty dishes for two people. There were dozens of beer cans and other liquor bottles among the dishes. The smell was turning my stomach. I mean, it sounds like they're at my house. What's this? Black and white photo looked like the man upstairs and his wife, I guess. There was no reason for me to keep this. Did I take it? Slip the photo into my pocket. Maybe this would help me find some answers. Now, is there an image? Oh, you can move the light source up. Okay, that's cool. There's only dust on the floor now. Okay. How long had this been here like this, rotting? The man upstairs didn't look like he'd been dead a long time. Oh, does it say different things? Okay, one thing I don't like is like you can't make the skip. I mean, the text skip, you know? Scribbles of all kinds of random scraps of paper and notes about some kind of water tower. Did he mean the one by the old train yard? Oh, a thin gray mouse was stuck in a trap. It looked frantic but exhausted. Did I free it? Yeah, man. Turn him loose. All right. Well, I guess let's try this door over here. Oh, this is... Oh, those are stairs. No. Hold on. I like when I go back up here, because this is where you start the game, right? Well, oh, the roof is leaking. Yeah. Not the leaky roof. The desk had a computer and some papers on it, a single drawer. I didn't want to snoop. Did I open the drawer? Yes. Sheets, pins, blurry photo. Looks like a store of some kind. Why did this look so familiar? I really shouldn't have been going through this stuff, getting my fingerprints everywhere. Yeah, true. Blood on the wall. It smelled fresh and sickening. I realized there was blood on my shoes and pants. Oh man, I had to get out of there. So, is the big plot reveal that I'm the killer? Could be, could be. That's downstairs. There's the dead body. The man's face looked like the man in the photo I had found. I didn't mean to click that. So is this like the attic? I don't know. All right. I guess I'll go back downstairs. There's no run button. Okay. I like the scene transitions. Very like Resident Evil. A collection of rusty tools. These look like they've been seen a lot of use and were caked in damp smelling dirt. Why weren't they in a shed? This was an odd place to keep yard tools. What would they have been used for in here? I don't know. A photo similar to the old one I picked up had been moved a lot. There seemed to be a switch behind it. Did I push the switch? To press smoothly into the wall, I heard a faraway click somewhere. A faraway click somewhere. Interesting. So now does that mean it's like in this like floor? I don't know. I mean, nothing's really jumping out at me. Or standing out at me. Well, yeah, hopefully nothing jumps out at me. Alright, well, I guess we'll just go downstairs. It looked like hell. My clothes were dirty and torn. There was mud caked all over my shoes. The bathroom was spotless. Everything had been wiped to a sheen. I wonder if it was the man's wife who did the cleaning or him. I don't know. There was a photo development tray lying on the floor. Some leftover negatives were sticking up, but they were pretty blurry. I thought I saw what looked like the treetops. Seemed odd that the tray had been left there, considering how clean the rest of the bathroom was. I can definitely say my bathroom is not spick and span. It's not gross, but it's not like super clean either. The front door was blocked by a pile of furniture. I knew I had to find another way out. We'll just go out the damn window right here, bro. Just pop it open. Boop, boop, boop. Ooh. The door was taped and seemed to be stuck. By the smell, I guess it led to the kitchen. I gave the door a hard shove, and to my surprise, it cracked open. Oh. Okay, well, I'm glad I double tapped this. There were sheets of paper all over the... What the hell was that noise I heard? It looked like series of names were written down, but they were too smudged to read. I could only make out a few of the notes. Keycard, locker, last one, I promise. I didn't make much It didn't make much sense at the time. So is this like a narrative, like him recalling a memory, like the way this is portrayed? The smell of old dishes and moldy food was dizzying. Oh, here's the mouse. Huh. Well, because there's nothing in here. I'm kind of scared to go out here. The switch in the wall appears to have unlocked the door. Oh, it was this door. Okay. Oh, there's a basement. Well, hold on. I guess by better judgment, I want to go see kind of what that noise was I heard a second ago. So nothing in there. Was there something in this bathroom? No. Alright. I guess we'll go to the basement, I guess. Alright. Down we go. The box looked heavy. There were marks on the floor. It was obviously been moved before. Maybe I had found a way out. I must have moved it, right? Yes. I heaved the box forward and it finally gave. There was a ladder going underground where the box was. A dank smell rose from the passage. Did I climb down the ladder? Yes, you did. I looked again at the photo I found on the house. The couple looked distant, like they didn't want to be in the same picture. I wonder where the wife was. My leg was in terrible shape, but I had to get out. Oh, okay. Footprints in the dirt looked like more than one kind and a lot of traffic. Whatever this place was, it was obviously used a lot. Places all over marked on the old map of town, the industrial area near the river, various houses, and even the water tower near the old rail station. The guy upstairs must have done this, but what was his interest in the water tower? Some of the markings matched the scribbles I saw on the bookshelf upstairs. Newspaper clippings from the local paper. They were all about murders in town over the last few years. Wait. There were photos of our house. What the hell was that about? Maybe I should have looked around more, tried to find some kind of information. Poor Rachel, please be okay. I wanted to rush home, but I had to find a way out first, and I needed to see what else was down there. There's definitely a lot of stuff down here. A work table covered in papers, dirt, and a handgun. I hated guns. I didn't take it, did I? Fuck yeah, you're taking it. I tucked the small handgun into my pocket. Its weight somehow reassuring. Why did I take the gun? So we can shoot a motherfucker, that's why. Oh, wait, no. It was so dark down there and the air smelled stale and putrid. I couldn't believe what I saw. What was this place? Hold up. I like want to explore the rest of this first level. Oh, there is nothing else. Well, okay then. I'm going back. Oh. The desk looked old and was caked with grime. It was on a stack of old faded paper covered with what looked like names. They were scratched out and illegible notes were written beside them in the faded blue ink. I could only make out a few letters. Okay. None of it made any sense to me. And nothing about Rachel or me was written there. Maybe I needed to keep looking. So there's a door there. That's the way out. So, I guess that goes down again. Crudely made shelves. They looked like they were holding cans of some kind of corrosive. The labels were worn and slick, but I could still see the warnings. The slight fumes that still emanated from the cans made me dizzy. It looked like a cage. It was small, but there was something coating the bottom, something wet. That place was getting worse all the time. I knew I had to keep moving. Yeah, the way this is told is very interesting. What's this? Some kind of homemade rack sewn together with poorly cut wood and rope. It was caked with old blood. Somebody didn't actually use that, did they? The smell in that room was like old grease and rot. I wasn't getting any closer to finding anything useful. What do you mean? You like have a gun now, bro? We're fucking strapped. Some bitch rolls up on me, they're getting clapped. There looked to be bones half dug into the ground, and the remains looked old. The faded clothes that stuck up amongst the dirt looked familiar. They looked like the clothes that woman was wearing in the photo I found. Was this the man's wife? Uh-oh. I wondered what would I have found if I dug deeper. Oh. I don't know. Alright, so homie killed his wife, I guess. Or someone killed his wife. So she got. It's okay. I guess we're going down to another level. Now, how is this going to help me get out? Like, I'm just going deeper and deeper into this mess. Some kind of old boxes. They look like they were years old. Wait a minute. These boxes had old clothes in them. Clothes I remembered throwing out after Rachel and I moved to town. What the hell were they doing here? If I was scared before, I was terrified now. Why were there photos of our house there and these clothes? Was that why I was here there? I checked my back pocket and realized that my wallet was missing. Did I come to that house or did somebody bring me? Oh, I didn't mean to click that. God damn it. Yeah. No. Alright, so bro's missing his wallet. That's... No. I remember noticing the broken ladder. I had to be careful. We'll check that out in a minute. What's in here? What? There was a rope hanging there. I wasn't sure how sturdy it was. Did I take it? Yes. Maybe the rope would make that broken ladder easier to descend. Alright. This is my old nemesis, Jack Skellington. The rope I found would have let me climb down the broken ladder safely. Did I climb down? Yes. I could hear a faint hum and the smell from before started to get worse. Bunch of old newspapers, wheat pasted to get wheat pasted. What the hell does that mean? A message had been hastily smeared onto it. Keep out, danger due to cave-in. I wanted nothing more than to get out of there. Whew. That was loud. Oh, it's a metal door. I could still feel a faint impression of the rope I had slid down as I pressed against the heavy metal door. It was probably for the best that I hadn't jumped. The ache in my leg was bad enough as it was. If I could have, though, I would have run straight out of those awful tunnels. Who would keep such a place? At least I thought I had found that old handgun. It seemed to work, and from the smell of it, it had been used already. I kept the gun in my pocket. It seemed a familiar weight there. An exposed ventilation shaft. Maybe someone crawled through there, but it was so high up that it must have been a sore landing. There was dirt on the ground. It looked wet, and there was grass smeared within it. Odd that there was similar dirt on my own shoes. I could hear a faint trickling sound like water. What was that? It was an exit. A kitchen knife covered in drying blood. Thinking about it made me sick. I didn't even want to touch it. Did I take the knife? Yes. I slipped the knife in my boot since I had the gun in my pocket. Did I really need all this? Yes. Yes, you do. Absolutely. Let's go back to where that ladder was. So that says exit. I'm gonna bypass that for a second. But where does this go? Disgusting, it was a mess of filthy garbage bags. There were rips and tears in most of the bags. What looked like an old videotape was sticking out. Did I take the tape? Yes. I wasn't sure what I hoped to discover with the tape, but I took it anyway. I did not want to keep digging through this mess. Okay, so I have a videotape. Alright. Well, I guess let's try the exit door. There was a rusty ladder sunk into the water, which smelled disgusting. I knew I couldn't climb down that. Maybe I could find a way to drain the putrid water. Putrid water. Okay. This game's very descriptive about smells. Like it talks about smells a lot. Okay, so I guess we'll just try the doors. The door was locked. There was a musty smell from. See how it talks about smells a lot? All right, so I can't get in that one. I wasn't sure, but I thought it was some kind of regulator. I had no idea how it worked. Through the dust, I could see handprints from previous use, probably from whoever worked in those sewers. Oh, is this gonna drain the water? I thought I could turn this water valve to shut off its flow. Did I turn it? Yes. Okay. I was kind of hoping somehow that would unlock the door. I know that makes no sense. All right, here we go. Going in. I thought I could turn this water valve. Did I turn it? Yes. So is there two more things? So then, did I not turn this one off in here? Oh. So then, did that drain the water? I don't know. Oh yeah, we're good. We rolling? What's that? Looked like the water drained out of that grate in the wall. There's a small metal key left floating in the shallow pool of rancid water. Did I take it? Yes. The smell hadn't improved much and the room was damp. Well, does it open the door up here? Guess not. All right, well, I guess we'll keep going because I don't recall any other locked doors that I can think of off the top of my head. Plus, getting back to the house would be annoying. The safety poster had definitely seen better days. How old was that facility? The faded paper was yellow and dusty, but there it had obviously been wiped off recently. That's a weird sentence. Paper was yellow, but there it had. Yeah. The door was locked. I could see a faint light within. Yeah, I'm like double trying the doors just in case, like, you know, because like that one door, I used it twice and it opened on me. I found another dead body, a sewer worker. By the wounds all over his face and body, I figured he'd been stabbed repeatedly. There was a key ring sticking out of the man's pocket. Did I take it? Yes. I thought about the knife I'd found with some disgust as I carefully picked the keys from his pocket. I was almost worried he was going to grab me. I was feeling even more sick from seeing another dead man. I didn't want to get any more blood on my clothes. There's a security camera in the room. There must have been a way to see what had happened. Maybe the VHS tape I found could be useful. I couldn't help but wonder if someone was watching me from the other side. I don't know. Is there a red light? It looks like there is. There's a hint of fresh air here. I must have been near an exit, but I wondered what did the key I found on the sewer worker do and what was on the videotape I found. Well, hold on. I'm like wondering that too. So let's go back because I have keys. So I think I can open some of these doors. All right. So I think this one was locked, wasn't it? Yep. The shelf was full of security tapes, was strictly organized, though covered in dust. It looked like the tape I found was the one that was missing from the shelf. I wonder what was on the tape and why it was thrown out. There's a dusty... Oh, here we go. I wonder what was on the tape that I found. Did I play the tape? The video showed a man right there in the sewers being attacked. The tape looked fuzzy and stretched like someone had tampered with it. It looked like there could have been two men. All right, I'm going to click this again. Hopefully it doesn't play the scene. I bet it does. Nope, I couldn't stand to watch that video again. You pansy. Okay, well, there was this door, then there was like another one back this way. I think it was this way, wasn't it? It was like the door on the left. Tried a bunch of keys on the keyring. I found the sewer worker and one of them seemed to fit. Hell yeah, we're going in. A collection of stale liquor bottles covered the floor. The room didn't seem like much of a place for drinking. What was the point? The wall was littered with dozens of old faded papers. Whoever did this was obsessed with some local murders. According to some of the clippings, bodies have been found in ravines, in the forest, and in one case dumped in the back of an abandoned truck. Couldn't be sure, but I thought some of these same articles had also been pasted up back in those tunnels. Did that sewer worker find this room? Is that why he was killed? A faded receipt was half trampled on the floor. It was from the local train station. It was for 2 tickets. I didn't know what use it could be, but did I keep the receipt? Yes. I neatly folded the soiled receipt and slipped it into my front pocket. Interesting. Why is it making radioactive noises? Anyway, I think those are the only two. Okay, my butthole may have puckered a little bit right there. Just a bit. I was like, oh. Okay, what's this room again? I can't remember. Is this the room with the security thing and the dead body? Yeah. Okay. Would I need that gun or that knife before the end? Both weighed me down and aggravated my leg as I climbed the old ladder. The thought of that videotape still gave me chills. Who was it that didn't want to be seen? Was it the same person that hid all those clippings away in the locked room? Suddenly, the awful smell of that sewer gave way to a pine-scented blast of fresh air. I'm out. Well, hold on. What's... So there's a door there, but what's back this way? The lid had fallen on the entrance there, and was stuck shut. I was relieved to be above ground again. I figured I should keep moving. Okay, so this is kind of like a, I don't know, checkpoint, I guess. Okay. An old ladder leading up to the ancient water tower. The ladder needed to be extended so I could climb it. I fought the latch and brought the ladder down. Okay. Oh, look, it's like burst or something on the side. In a patch of smeared dirt and grass, there was a beat-up old wallet. I thought it was mine. Did I take it? Oh, yeah, it's mine. I slid the filthy wallet into my back pocket. I noticed it didn't contain any kind of gun permit. In fact, it didn't contain any cards or ID of any kind. I thought I should recover my credit card and driver's license, at least. From the railing, I could see over the woods and down to the entrance to the sewers. Had I come through here before? If I did, someone definitely could have seen me. It was getting cool up there, and I shivered with an uneasy sense of what was to come. How did I get home from here? Alright. Now we'll go in the door here. I tried the little key I'd fished out of the murky puddle in the sewers. It fit, and I heaved open the rusty door. The wind was picking up a bit. The night air had become strangely chilly. Okay, hold on. But before I go into that area, what's down this way? Oh, another door. This must have been the entrance to the forest that was mentioned on that map I had seen. Whoever was poking around in those tunnels underneath that man's house had scribbled notes on this place, but I couldn't make them out. Heard the sign and point out various campsites and walking paths within the woods. It mentioned a river and maybe a washroom, but the rest was too faded to see clearly. I almost wished I had paid more attention to those crazy scribblings. Maybe I would have been less nervous about entering that dark forest. Okay, yeah, I think we'll go back to that other door. So it's interesting because I think you could get here and not have the key. So then you just wouldn't, you know. I was kind of hoping I'd click A and like I'd find something there. So what is this? Oh, is this the front of the house? No, the old train station was quiet as a tomb. The only sound was that of the increasing wind buffeting the decrepit structure. Train station. Is this where that receipt came from? Alright, well. Got two doors. An old map encased in glass hung on the wall. It was the train routes connected to that old station. As I looked at it, it seemed familiar. Of course, the map I found on those tunnels had similar locations marked, and the notes I found on another man's bookshelf. His notes mentioned the water tower and even this train yard. What was he doing coming back here? The sorry condition of that place seems sad somehow, but also ominous. The old train was ripped open and hanging from a shred of metal, as well as the broken fence was a dark stained patch of cloth. It looked synthetic, like some kind of outerwear. Inside the train shell, I could see a few faint impacts, like wounds. Could they have been bullet marks? Was somebody shot there? The ground was well worn, though I couldn't really make anything out. I realized I was touching the gun I had found as I thought. It was getting colder out there, and I had to keep moving. So we crashed a train? That's no good. That's not good for anybody. Alright, well, there's still another door to the left I can check out. An old ticket booth that looked fairly ruined. Inside the ticket window were sheets of paper and wait, what were these? Train receipts. I thought the receipt I had picked up might match these, but of course not. This station had been closed for years. The ticket must have been for the newer station and open up on the other side of town after this one was abandoned. However, I noticed a series of fresher looking paper covered in tiny notes, scribbles, and diagrams. It looked like someone had been leafing through the old ledgers looking for something, a name perhaps? Oops. Okay. I guess we'll go back this way. All right, well, I guess we're going into the woods. Oh, that's like a path. Okay, all right. So there's like multiple paths that you can go. I hear water this way. A dry old picnic table sat lonely amongst the trees that had carvings and marks from years of previous campers. As I tried to read some of the names on the marks, I idly thumbed the knife I'd found. If I wanted to, I could have carved something on that table, did I? Yeah, fuck it, why not? A few strokes, I etched a simple design into the wood, R+H. I felt like a teenager defacing the table. I read some of the other names and notes on the table surface. Uncle Phil. What? Seemed like the table had seen lots of use over the years. The path ended in a cold-looking river. I wasn't sure if it was safe to cross like this. No. I'm gonna try that other path and see kind of where that goes. Because I don't think trying to cross that's like, you know, I'm getting like Oregon Trail vibes. Trampled into the dirt and grass was a plastic card of some kind. I brushed it off and was surprised to see it was my credit card. Wasn't sure if it was still usable, but it was mine. Did I take back my credit card? Fuck yeah, you're taking it back. I pocketed the credit card. Hopefully you could find my driver's license too. Through the fence, I could see a dilapidated outbuilding. I wondered if I could find my way around. Let's see. Uh-oh. That didn't sound good. There was a fire pit there. It was still a bit warm, and a few embers still burn at the bottom. Was someone else out in those woods? Why did they abandon their campsite? Two folded camping chairs were on the ground. One was knocked over. There was a couple of cans of beer spilled on the ground. No, not the beer. Whoever was here left this place in a hurry, but why? The cheap dome tent slept two people. I shone my flashlight inside. I could see some bedrolls, two backpacks, and a cooler. It felt like if I keep rooting through the campsite, someone will walk in on me. Oh. Oops. I was gonna say, bro, take the backpack. Well, actually, no, he probably couldn't because his little legs all fucked up. There were some personal effects shoved back into the rock. Wait, there was a notebook there too. Inside the cheap dollar store notebook was page after warm page of names and lists. None of it made much sense. The newest page contained several names. Those... Rachel, her name was last on the list, and it had a mark beside it in blue ink. The names Daphne and Olivia had been crossed out with the same blue ink. Charlotte, Heather, and Rose had also been crossed out, but these marks look older and more faded. Okay. So I think I came in that one, so let's go in this one. No, don't, what's it say? Don't look? I don't know. Going in. The grimy sink had a small patch in it that looked almost clean. There wasn't much in the way of clean water there, but the sink did work. It's interesting it points that out. So is there a point I'm gonna need water? There's a damp smelling plank leaning against the stall door. Might have been able to cross the river with it. Yes. Managed to carry the plank under my arm so it didn't get in the way. The stall was covered in dirt and filth. This washroom obviously hadn't been cleaned in a while. Oops. Okay, well, yeah, it's a good thing I didn't try to cross the river earlier. Where does this go? The sign was the same as the first one I had seen. This must have been the exit to the other side of the woods. I finally found the exit. Once I left, I knew I never wanted to return there. So if I go in, is that like into the game, or is it like I can go back to the river? Let's do the river. If I can remember how to get there, because it was kind of a process of getting here. It wasn't that way. There we go. The plank I found was long enough to form a crude bridge, but it wasn't sure if it would hold. Did I use it? Yes. Yes. Two bodies, two young women, were half dug into a hastily shallow grave between the trees. The younger looking one was still face up, her dead eyes gleaming against my flashlight. They deserve better than that. Did I clean up the gravesite? I almost feel like if I say yes, then that's gonna put me in a position where like I help like cover a crime. But I'm also paying respects to the dead, so. I tried to cover them up a bit more, and I closed the younger woman's eyes. I fashioned a crude marker. I wasn't sure why, but it felt I had to do something. The girls weren't carrying IDs, so I couldn't determine their names. I only hoped that whoever had done this had done it quickly. I wondered now if they had a phone or something at their campsite. Maybe I could call for help. So, okay, I need to find that campsite again. Crap, I don't remember where that was. Now, because this leads to the building, and I don't think it was in there. I mean, it may be. Yeah, well, I guess it has to be. Because There's nowhere else to go. Oh, here we go. Let's look at the tent. The inside of that tent was suffocating. Olivia Daphne. Well, I guess not. Okay. Well, I guess we'll just go for the exit. Shit, I don't remember where that was. Is that this way? Crap, I can't remember now. I like forgot. I think, was this where the, okay, that's where the building was. There we go. Alright, we're out of here. The forest started to thin out a bit, and through the trees I could make out parts of the town beyond, and the first hints of light. The mysteries of that forest were behind me, but I could still feel them on my neck like a warm breath. Those girls I had found, someone had taken them from their campsite and had murdered them. Was it the same person who had left that odd notebook? I was even more eager to get somewhere safe and to find a way to reach Rachel. As I stepped through the gate, I suddenly recognized the auto parts factory where I had worked as a machinist for all those years. The plant had closed almost 3 years ago now. Times were better then. I thought I could hear a faint rustling behind me. Maybe it was just the wind. What's in here? I found the body of a security guard just doing his job, no doubt. His face was covered with blood from some kind of head wound. I wondered, was this flashlight his? I saw the blunt wound on the guard's head and looked again at the flashlight I was carrying. Oh no, please. Dug into the ground was a cracked old watch. First my wallet, not this. Did I retrieve my watch? Yes. The watch was useless, but I put it on my wrist anyway. I wish I could remember, why was all my stuff missing? I don't know, because I'm out there thumping security guards, I guess. I don't know. So now we're in a factory. One of the lockers hung open, its contents were tossed around like someone had been looking for something. Old work clothes had been picked through, and a few photos and notes had been ripped off the door and spread around. The door was locked shut, and there was a little electronic box under the handle. A sign was pasted to the front that said, "Danger, closed for repairs." Okay. There was a large power box with 5 lights on it. Cables burst out of the box, snaking off to other parts of the factory. The metal was starting to wear, and the cobwebs had collected on the corners. The box wasn't receiving power. It didn't look like the power was on yet. Yes, I know. The door was locked tight. It seemed to be connected to the power box beside it. Okay. Every part of this plant smelled old and rotten. I noticed the old bulletin board on the wall. The board contained yellow clippings of the newspaper cartoons and notices. There were notes to and from the guys that work here. One of them was to Norman, who was one of the older guys on the line. Norman took over a general store after the factory closed. He, Rachel, and I would get lunch every now and then. Rachel liked him because he seemed more positive despite the setback. I don't think I could say the same about me. Or were you a negative Nancy there, buddy? Our old break table, the layers of dust and grime only made seeing this sting more. Looked like some beer bottles have been used on the table recently. I wondered, was that guard using this as a break room of his own? Probably. A power panel. Looked like it was shut off. Did I push the switch? Oh yeah. The power panel still wasn't working. Did I try it again? Yeah, there we go. The power panel seemed to be working again. The open locker was stuffed with dirty work clothes and old boots. Man, I can't read. There was a photo of a woman taped to the inside, but it was scratched out and the face was unrecognizable. That woman's photo. I knew I had to get back to Rachel to find out what happened. It was shut tight. There was a rusty looking card slot on the side. Okay. I turned that one on. I turned that one on. The door had been hastily boarded up. The door had been hastily boarded up. One more time. The door had been hastily boarded up. Okay. I didn't know if you could like break it open like the other one from earlier. This was Norman's locker. The door was dented like someone had punched it. I don't remember him doing that when we worked there. My head ached, and I recalled the last time Norman, Rachel, and I all had lunch together. Rachel seemed so much more at ease when we all hung out. Another panel that I hope could help me get the power back on. Did I push the switch? No. So is there like one last one on the end here? A utility shelf crammed with mismatched tools and items. There was a claw hammer on the shelf. I took the hammer and noticed it wasn't as dusty as the rest of the tools on the shelf. The utility shelf. Oh, so I could probably open that boarded up door back there. The locker was a complete mess. Hidden at the bottom though was a magnetic card. Did I take the card? Yes. I slipped the key card into my pocket. Oh, there's two more switches. Another panel that I hope can give me the power back. Oh. It's not working. Yes. All right. I got power on and I got a hammer and a key card. So we can open up that that boarded up door. I'm assuming. And that's what hammers are good for. I struck it with the hammer. The old wooden boards came apart easily. After I removed the planks, I left the hammer on the floor. Oh no, don't leave the hammer. We may need that. No, I still have the knife on me. Stab a motherfucker. This was my locker. There in the factory. It stank of booze. There was a picture of Rachel on the inside. It looked like it had been torn up. I thought I had taken that picture home when the factory closed. This room was nothing but bad memories. There was a mess of empty booze bottles. I wondered if that man in the house had something to do with this. He sure had a lot of alcohol at his place. That man's house is mine. Maybe that guard outside caught him hiding up here. Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Possibly. No. I wonder if my head hurts because I'm like hungover. Another smudge of dirt similar to the one I found in those sewers was on the floor. A large pile of building materials and debris blocked the way. The The factory floor never did get the repairs it needed. We closed too soon for that to happen. What the hell is all that racket back here? Rusted old regulator of some kind sat dusty and unused against the wall. Within the dust, there were deep scratches like from some kind of tool or blade. Planks, tools, and broken up parts blocked any further passage. The power box working again. The door was unlocked. Did I go through? Fuck yeah. I pushed the handle and stepped through the door. Here we go. I'm in, baby. A rack of flashlights hung on the wall. One of them was missing. Wait a minute. They were exactly the same as the flashlight I was carrying. I turned my own over and looked at the bottom. Judging by the label, it definitely could have come from that rack. Oh, so I didn't jack the security guard. The stale scent. Well, no, maybe I could. He could have got it from there. Then never mind. The stale scent of the old factory gave way to the brisk odor of pine trees and dirt. I was back outside, though I wasn't sure if that was better or worse. The path beyond was dark, and my flashlight barely illuminated anything. I wondered if it had really been taken from the factory. If so, how did I get it? That poor guard. He's probably just doing his job. Maybe he knew what was going on in that boarded up room. If he did, he wouldn't be telling that tale to anybody. I hope the path led back into town. I need to find some help. All right, here we go. I'm like invested in this, man. This is a good game. Who's this? A crashed car? A truck? The pickup had smashed into the guardrail and stood silent. Was this the truck that those newspaper clippings mentioned? Was there really a body found here too? I looked closer at the tailgate and could see a series of dried streaks down its back. Inside the truck was dried blood and broken glass. I was surprised this hadn't been towed away yet. Yeah, true. All right. The garbage bin was a disgusting mess of rotten food and slick black bags. I saw a thin, greenish corner poking out from one of the bags. It was my driver's license. It looked damaged. Did I take it back? Yep. I cleaned the card off as best I could. It looked pretty beat up. I was amazed that I found my credit card and now this. I took the card into my wallet next to my credit card. Oh, I didn't make the little sound effect. Did somebody steal this from me? I wondered why they would have stashed it there. Sounded like it's gonna start raining again. I had entered Norman's place. This was the back of the store that he ran. It was oddly quiet except for the faint sound of a television. The entrance to the front of the store was locked from the inside. Looked like I couldn't just pop it open. It needed a key. There was a bit of blood on the keyhole. Okay. Hello? So door that way. Door. I guess we're on the left. The TV still flickered some indecipherable channel. I couldn't make out what was on the screen, but that glow just gave me the chills. Turn it off then. No, man down! Oh no, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Norman, my co-worker and one of the few friends I had in this town, lay dead beside his armchair. His face and shirt were covered in blood, and it looked like he'd been shot trying to get up. His eyes were still wide with shock. Norman, you deserve better than this. I wasn't sure if I wanted to give him peace or if I just couldn't stand to think anymore about what was going on. Quickly, I closed Norman's eyes. The poor bastard. The poor bastard. I I guess this was Norman's kitchen table. He kept it cleaning up, but there were water rings from 2 cups still there in the wood. I'd never been to Norman's place before, at least I didn't remember ever doing so. The kitchen trash bin smells fresh. I didn't dig through that mess, did I? I found a hairpin amongst the rotting food and trash and pocketed it. Oh, that's probably how I can get that door open. There were takeout containers and food scraps. Looks like Norman was eating for 2. I did that the other day. I went to like a little bar and girl place and I got like 2 orders of food because I just wanted to try both things. And she's like, "Oh, are you gonna eat all that?" I'm like, "Yeah." Don't judge me. Despite the shock of already finding Norman in that state, seeing this turned my stomach just as much. It was one of Rachel's old fall coats. What was it doing there? Was she okay? Something dark stained the sleeve. My stomach only tightened further. I don't know, man. What if Rachel was having a thing with Norman? You walked in on it, freaking killed both of them. And then you like crashed the truck, and then I don't know. Inside the cabinet was a small but impressive collection of hunting rifles, shotguns, and even a few items I didn't think were legal here. One of the slots on the rack was empty. The gun I had found seemed to match the others there. If the handgun was Norman's, what the hell was he doing with it? The gun would fit here. Did I place it back in the cabinet? Fuck no. Though it weighed on me, I had a hard time parting with the weapon just then. Norman, what were you doing with all these? Yeah, no, I'm keeping the gun. Oh no. Oh. Staying strapped. I used the hairpin to pick the lock. The hairpin snapped in half, so I threw it away. Oh, I thought it snapped before I could get open. The general store was small, but it was clean. It had the usual things: postcards, snacks, magazines, and canned goods. I never went there much. Rachel usually stopped by after work if we needed anything. Dude, I'm telling you, she was cheating on me with Norman, bro. The register was mostly empty and a fat stack of travel magazines sat beside it. I wonder if someone had robbed the place before killing Norman upstairs. The icebox seemed to be unplugged. It must have been off for a while. Most of its contents were half melted. I can only think of poor Norman upstairs. Various postcards from the area, especially from the tourist traps. One of the postcards showed an old black and white photo of the water tower. It looked to be in much better shape than... Yeah, it's got a big old hole in it now. Of all the postcards, that one seemed to be the most popular. There were only a few left. Huh? And now we're out in the streets. When had I seen Norman was dead, but I had no idea why. I didn't know how he could be involved in all this, but the thought of him lying on the floor up there was sickening. The only comfort I had was the gun I still carried, but it was really a comfort or a curse. The rain was coming down hard, but at least I was close to home. It wouldn't be long before I got my answers. All right. Yeah, I'm not going to go home and Rachel's going to be dead. All right, well, we have four doors. Well, I guess typical Kinzo fashion, we'll just start over there at the far right. Oh, shit. It was locked. This wasn't the right gate. Oh, does this go to my house? Oh, all right. Man, he wasn't kidding. Like, he's like real close to all those. So, homie worked for the factory, but it closed. But he still lives in the area, and his buddy Norman, I guess, has a store. So then, what do I do for work nowadays? The neighborhood's local post box. A letter was sticking out as if someone hadn't pushed it in all the way. I knew it wasn't right, but did I look at the letter? Yes. There was no return address, but the envelope was addressed to Norman. Carefully, I tore it open and looked at the letter inside. It read, "Stay away, she's mine." That was it. No signature, no other information. Who wrote this? Damn it, Norman. What did yourself... I'm telling you, Rachel's cheating on you with Norman, bro. I'm telling you right now. Telling you, I'm telling you, this bro figured out that she was cheating and he snapped and people got clapped. I had entered our backyard. The rain gave me a terrible sense of foreboding and it chilled me through my clothes. I was expectant but also afraid. Huh? We're gonna go in here and there's gonna be a bunch of Rachel all over the floor in here. I held my breath as I approached our back door. I was terrified to step inside. The house is painfully. Ooh. The house is painfully quiet. There's just like a big boom. The only sound was my own ragged, my own breathing, ragged and strained. I flicked the light switch by the door. The power was off. Man, it's loud as shit. I remembered having breakfast here on this very table. Was that yesterday or sometime before? The table was clean and hadn't been used anytime recently. There was a small pile of mail on the floor in front of the mail slot. How long had I been away? Why hadn't Rachel picked this up? Bro, she's dead upstairs, I'm telling you. Most of these contents were bills. There was a credit card bill there. Did I open it? Yes. I wrote the bill open and read it. To my surprise, it said something about canceling my credit card due to non-payment. What the hell? Oh no. Front door was locked from the inside. I couldn't go out though. I needed to see if Rachel was here. Oh, she's here. Door to the basement was locked. Where had I put the key? Oh no. No, Rachel's down there. Yeah. Damn. This is a big house, man. Shit, you got 3 stories in this bitch? I'd found the last missing piece from my wall. The old photo of Rachel and I stared back at me, reminding me of better times. It didn't make me feel terribly comfortable. Did I keep it anyway? Yes. I replaced the photo in my wallet, feeling like I had got part of my life back. Still, the image made me uneasy. Why had I thrown it away? I don't know, bro. Our television, I had purchased it before I knew I was going to lose my job. I felt pretty guilty about it afterward, but by then it was too late. Rachel was pretty angry about that, I realized. Hey man, like, hey, I'll defend you, bro. Like, if you didn't know you're going to lose your job, like, whatever, man. And, you know, it's like me buying something right now, not knowing that tomorrow I'm going to get fired. The door was stuck shut. There was an old-fashioned keyhole underneath the handle. Ooh. Our hallway mirror had been smashed as pieces scattered across the floor. I couldn't really make myself out anymore. I wasn't sure I wanted to. The books there were half mine, half Rachel's. You know, that I looked more closely, it looked the man in that house had some of the same books as I did. One book in particular seemed a bit odd. I remembered owning it, but not that edition. There was a suitcase on the bed. It was Rachel's. I remembered it from that trip we took out west. That I opened the suitcase. Yep. I wasn't sure what to make of the suitcase's contents. Inside were a few days worth of clothes, some toiletries, and a train ticket. I checked the date and time. It matched the receipt I found back in those horrible sewers. What was this, Rachel? Who were you running away with? This wasn't getting me anywhere. Our sink, which needed to be replaced, one of the taps always stuck, but I hadn't got around to fixing it yet. We were lucky enough to get a house with one of those wonderful old claw-footed man, I've wanted one of those for years, man. Yeah, you are lucky. It seemed impractical at times, but it was part of what made that house a home. My laptop had been left on and only had a tiny bit of power left. On the screen was a website about the old water tower. There was a key in the top drawer of my desk. pocketed the key. Yeah. Laptop was warm, had been running for a while. Alright. So now I can open that door. What was that, downstairs to the right, I think? Where? Unlock the basement door. Oh, Lord, we are about to have a revelation. Here we go. There were old Christmas decorations in the box. I couldn't even remember our last Christmas. The garbage bags were stuffed with old paint cans and supplies. There was a dirty old key here. Did I take the key? Yes. Took the small key, tried to remember what it unlocked. Well, it must be that door upstairs. Looked like there was plaster and an old trowel in here too. Plaster? There were old clothes, tools, and other things we obviously hadn't thrown out yet. We had way too much junk. I had put up this divider wall last summer so we could create a separate room in the basement. I hadn't finished it yet, so the door was stuck, and the drywall was poorly installed. I might have been able to break through if I found something heavy enough. Well, just shoulder rush it, bro. Come on. All right, well, I guess we're going back upstairs to open that door, and then maybe there's something in there that I can break down that wall. The Grammy key I had found in the basement unlocked the door. No. Looked like the room had been tossed around. The furniture was a mess. Did somebody break in here? Oh, man, this is like where you learned the awful truth, and then, like, you went batshit crazy. There was an old crowbar on the floor. I lifted the heavy crowbar. I appreciated its weight. Did I break through the wall with the crowbar? Yep. With the heave, I swung the crowbar out the wall. I smashed a large hole and stepped through. As I stepped through the broken wall, my breath caught in my throat. This was it. Was Rachel down here? Was she okay? No, she's not. A filthy looking pile of rags had been dumped in the corner. The stench of them was awful and made my eyes water. I was terrified to even touch the pile to see what lay within, but I knew I had to. I had come this far. After all this searching, after all I had seen, when I looked within the rags, did I finally find my Rachel? Wrapped within the filthy rags, pale and still, was Rachel. I told you. She was covered in fading bruises and would look like cuts. Her chest was a horrible mess of blood and dirt, and I couldn't bear to look at it. The knife in my boot, the gun in my pocket, were they the tools of her murder? I thought about all I had seen and wondered if any of it could help me figure out who had done this. And when I couldn't stay there any longer, I stepped away on shaky legs and made my way back upstairs. Reluctantly, exhausted from my journey, I could no longer resist the urge to close my eyes. It was my wallet with its contents intact. Either I dropped that stuff or somebody else did. Maybe I was sleepwalking again, or maybe somebody stole it from me. Norman store, that forest, the water tower. Was I at those places before? I mean, it seems like I'm gonna say yes. I didn't see how it could have happened any other way. I must have been the one to lose my wallet and its contents. But what does that mean? That, my good man, I don't know. Maybe I'll use some of Rachel's travel books and find some place to go. No matter what, I need some kind of escape. Oh, so we're fleeing now? This was the old photo, that other man and his wife, I assume. I found it in that house. I recall those faded remains I had found deep underneath this house. What had he done there? Well, What did I think? Was that man involved in this whole mess somehow? I'm gonna say yes. Those tunnels, the old tools to his house, and remains of his wife, he wasn't innocent, that's for sure. But who had killed him? Within the few broken pieces that remained on my mirror, I could see my face had grown pale and weak. I couldn't bear to look again. It was like I didn't actually expect a reflection. I felt empty and drained. Perhaps I would never know how that mirror came to be broken. Was it by Rachel's assailant or by Rachel herself? The thought lingered and would haunt me forever. The reflection in that grimy glass was only a shadow, a whisper. The quiet in that room unnerved me terribly. I still love the old-time charm of that claw-footed bathtub, though it seemed like cold comfort then. Rachel loved this part of the house. I mean, I would too, man. It was the key card I found at the bottom of that factory locker. I never did bother to use it. Someone had been going through those lockers and poking around the plant. You know, I never did actually open that door, I don't think. Still, it didn't seem to quite add up. Was I had the one that had been going back to the factory? Yes. It looked that way, didn't it? That locker room, I had given up drinking, but ooh. The laptop had finally run out of power. How long had it been left running? It was the letter I had taken from the post box. Who had it out for Norman? Who sent him that letter? It must have been someone from the neighborhood, or at least somebody I wanted to look that way. I wasn't sure what to think. Did he murder Rachel? No. Norman had ended up dead himself. Whoever sent that threatening letter must have got to him, but who the hell was that? From now on, I'd have no one to get angry with me for stupid things like buying this TV. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a coping way. Just thinking about things like that made me sick with grief. My old office safe sat on the floor and used a digital passcode lock. Did I try to open it? Yes. The safe used an 8-digit code. What was that damn code again? Do I type something here? I don't know what the damn code is. I leafed through the notebook I had taken from the forest. In it were names that had been written down. Heather, Olivia. I wonder what happened to the other names on that list or the ones scratched out on that desk in those wet tunnels. I wonder, if I really paid attention to all this, if I could piece together the code for that. It seemed like I had seen all there was. Maybe I thought I was ready to go back into the basement. The mail still sat there heaped on the floor. How long had Rachel been lying in the basement? Maybe there wouldn't be anything for me to find, but I had to take one last look. If I was guilty, I could take this to a warm, safe place and do something about it. Did I pick up the knife? Yes. If I wanted to end it, I could do it. I could do it with that gun. Did I pick up the gun? Yes. It was like carrying an anvil, but it wouldn't let me go. Now that I stood there, I realized I couldn't go back into that room again. I had already seen too much. I needed to put an end to the situation one way or another. Okay. That was it. With Rachel gone, I couldn't stand to be in that house a moment longer, but I had the gun again and that knife. This wasn't the only way to end this, I knew, but did I leave and say goodbye to that nightmare forever? Yes. Living in this town hadn't been easy. The plan had helped in some way to stay grounded. It kept me in line, gave me something to do, and helped me get away from my past. When the factory closed, everything changed. I guess that was when I had started sleepwalking, disappearing for hours at a time. I had MRIs and piles of doctor's reports, but nothing seemed to help, not even drinking. But I swear I had tried to give it up. I know it. The sleepwalking never really went away, though. But I know Rachel had tried. I know she had tried to be there for me even when everything was falling apart. This night had unearthed terrible truth, but I knew it was the final act of a long-standing horror I'd been living. Waking up in that house tonight was the final cruelty. I wish I had remained unconscious in that room forever. It was obvious to me that the man I had found in the house had something to do with all this. Could he have killed Rachel? It started to seem that there were too many things I had seen to think otherwise. After making it out of those tunnels, I thought those sewers might feel safer. I was wrong. The security tape I had watched showed someone being attacked by what looked like two people. But who was it that was attacked? I had found the contents of my wallet scattered throughout town. Why the hell had I been out there? Had my sleepwalking gone to some new extreme? I thought that I couldn't account for my whereabouts, but knew I had been to that forest and even Norman's place. Well, it was terrifying. I didn't know what that meant, but at least I had recovered my things. Hopefully, I thought that would cover my tracks so I wouldn't be blamed for all this. Even more troubling were those poor girls I had found in those terrible woods, half hidden in a shallow grave with their secret deaths seemed like the ultimate defiling. I hadn't found them. Would anyone have done so? Would they have even been missed? I vaguely recalled the desk I'd seen in the tunnel, the names etched there. Someone had killed those girls. Was it that man? It was clear, at least, that I had been the one going back to the factory. I must have been sleepwalking or something, but what the hell was I doing there? I had given up drinking, hadn't I? So what was going on in the boarded up room? Suddenly my stomach started to turn. Was I responsible for that dead guard? After the factory, I thought I might find some solace if I could just get to Norman's store. But all I had found were more horrors and more questions. Now that I really consider it, that's when I should have seen it coming. Damn, Norman. How did you get mixed up in all this? I know you weren't a perfect man. None of us are. But you didn't deserve this. Maybe whoever had done you... Wait, what? Maybe whoever had done you in was responsible for the other murders that happened in that town. At the very least, I was convinced that you and Rachel were killed by the same person. I sincerely hoped you would find some peace, my friend. I knew I never would. When I had marched through the rain towards my home, I desperately clung to the hope that this would end, and I guess in a way it did. But how could I have known how hopeless it all was? I had started to feel as disorientated as usual when I sleptwalked. To think of it now, I guess I should have known from the terrible silence that greeted me when I first stepped into our house and stood there in the kitchen. There was no sound of television, radio, even the air was still, but seeing Rachel there lying ruined and discarded in the basement, that was a horror I could never have imagined. I didn't know if I could ever find the answers I craved, but I knew that somehow the other man I had found was responsible for this. If not directly, he must have been a hand in Rachel's death. So what was I doing in that damn house of his? Had I found out? Had I killed him? My damn condition made it difficult to know. Memories and time frames are always a mess, and I could never be sure. Knowing that man was dead, though, was cold comfort. My wife was gone, and no matter what happened to me now, I was lost forever. As I swung open the door and stepped into the air, I caught the scent of wet grass and fog. Rachel, my beautiful wife, just the thought of her again, cold and inert, shook me from head to toe. What would I do now? Who could I turn to? It would only be a matter of time before the police got involved, before the neighbors knew. The front lawn was soft, giving beneath my feet. I couldn't shake the urge that I couldn't stand there, but rather I should run. Okay. Well, this is a really cool game. Like, I'm glad that this got picked from my little random game thing that I'm doing. It was really well done, and clearly the way you play it, is you play it however you play it, but it's like a choose your own adventure thing. So it's like, because I did or didn't do this, that, or the other, I didn't get the full story, you know. So this is a game I would have to play again probably a few times to understand like the full scope of the story. And Dude Man was dead on when this game started. It said it's take about an hour 30 minutes to beat, and it said just play it start to finish. And it I mean, looking at my recording software, I've been recording for like an hour and 26. I mean, part of that was me like launching the game and all that, but yeah, this is a really cool game. Like, I don't think I don't know how I got this in my library, but I don't think I ever necessarily would have launched it at any point. You know what I mean? So like I'm actually digging this new series I'm doing where I just pick random games and play them, because it's exposed to me to stuff in my Steam library that I otherwise would never touch probably. So, and I actually finished this game, unlike the other random games I played. Yeah, this was fun. Like I really enjoy this. I might cheat a little and look up, not necessarily like the true ending, but I might look up to see like how do you get it, and I might replay this again. I might just do it on my own and not do a gameplay. But yeah, Benjamin Rivers, good job, buddy. You made a really fun game, so proud of you. All right, I'm gonna go. I'm out. So if you like, I'm gonna go. I'll see you when I see you.